Welcome back, everyone. It is Game 3, and if you missed out on the Game 2 banger, well then, I don't know what to tell you. You better go back and watch it, because every single Game 2 this past week has just been absolutely dynamite, and that one also delivered.
If we just get more of those throughout the rest of the series, I'm going to die happy after seeing these two teams slug at it. I feel like they're
I don't
destined.
want you to die, though.
Okay, well, maybe we won't have that many Game 2s, but we're still going to have some good games at least, right?
Got that cleared.
I hope so.
You hope that he dies?
No, I hope we get some more good games.
All right.
Come on.
Clarity,
Come on.
Cubby. And just making sure. Well, we are heading into the draft for Game 3. One of the big things that we were really looking at and surprised at was the small adaptation in draft, but the big adaptation in gameplay.
Yeah, it was very, very similar between Game 1 and Game 2. The only real change came in the 4th pick for 100 Thieves, and we are on the same sides. And it feels very similar to what we've been doing before, as we see, you know, it's the same opening thus far, but we saw the same first 6 picks.
We did, and the same first 6 bans. We'll see if that continues. As you know, 100 Thieves, they were the ones that had to make the adaptations, and for them, a lot of it was the change of gameplay.
Early Tryndamere ban, what was there before? Wasn't it the... trying to think back.
Well, we'll have to see if we have a choice now.
It was the LeBlanc. It was the LeBlanc.
Taking the Ari.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a big pick for Harry. We did talk about, you know, I think the bot lane for Team Liquid, they feel comfortable with that, but this mid lane, that was the first area we saw changes being made by 100 Thieves. We'll have to see if with the LeBlanc being up, we see something different.
This is setting up for Gangplank, right? Tryndamere has been the pick against Gangplank for multiple seasons. Darshan brought it to the forefront, but we were asking when this pick was going to come through.
It could be GP first 3. I know that for Jimmy as well, taking that early rise, you can't play LeBlanc into it. I think that was a big part of 100 Thieves' success. They're okay taking the Viego Lee Sin handshake. We'll see how Team Liquid swap things up from there. And also, that's not the insta-TK. So maybe thinking that some of the support changes...
Look at that, Josh.
As good call, Joshi. That's the early Gangplank coming in.
Yeah, we were talking about it as well, right? We were asking where were TL going to switch it up. Jinx has been one of the big players, and wow, we saw yesterday Ari LeBlanc. We've been seeing it this entire tournament. Both of these players are fantastic LeBlancs, but the rise is so good.
What this does mean is that the Bard's been dropped. I was really big for Ayla and Team Liquid, especially in that Game 1, but Ayla, his champ pool's deep. And if he's someone that we're going to be pitching as, hey, this might be the best player we have in Academy to send to the next level tomorrow, we're gonna have to see some more champions that Ayla's willing to pull out into that Tom Kench. I know Set, Rel, if we're gonna get really aggressive, Pyke, all options. Curious to see what the choice is and how 100 Thieves change up their bans. Maybe they take away the Bard or the Renata, more bot lane bans.
I think it's support bans that are coming in from 100 Thieves, because you already now have the solo laners locked in for Team Liquid. This time around, it was Akali and Gangplank that were the priority for 100 Thieves. Since the top laner's already locked in, you have to take things that made 100 Thieves struggle. It is targeting Ayla's champion pool.
Bard being off the table. I mean, no brainer there. Even with that Game 2 win for 100 Thieves, Bard has still been so difficult for them to deal with. It allows Team Liquid to cheat so much tempo, and that is something that's going to be a little bit different for Team Liquid in this game. Yes, they will have the global from the Gangplank, but they won't have the ports from the Rise. They won't have the gates from the Twisted Fate, and they won't have the magical journeys from Bard. So Team Liquid, if they do want to stick to that explosive mid-game plan, could see some changes coming in.
The other big thing that you have to look at is, what is the jungle pool going to be like after the round of bans? Lee Sin already being taken off the table. We saw that in the past 2 games, it was the Viego Lee Sin handshake. One of those champions is already being taken off the board, and when you look at Team Liquid, there is a lack of real engage right now. And if you want to set up for Gangplank, if you want to set up for Zeri, you want things that either help the disengage even further, or you want go buttons that look for the counter engage.
I like Rakan ban.
Maybe we see a Lulu. Going to get really wild. It syncs up pretty well with Sari. Could be an option. Yuumi, a little bit too, like, not enough health early. Maybe that's it. And, I mean, Rafa, I think what you're talking about, that Viego, curiously enough, actually going to take away the Kindred might force a Viego here. If we do see Viego, it will likely be a Trundle for Armeo. It's a matchup that he has loved to play, really strong for him. We'll see if 100 Thieves are willing to take that one, because that is not the easiest jungle matchup. And wow,
This
Maybe-
Ornn,
wow.
This Ornn is kind of
Wow.
wild to me, right? Because you already touched on the Trundle. It's something that Armeo can choose to blind here, even into the Viego, and push 100 Thieves to go for the Kindred instead. But one thing that we will have to pay attention to is if the Trundle comes through, that means that it'll be a zero tank composition for 100 Thieves.
And for 100 Thieves, the fact that they are locking in
Yeah.
on the Ornn, they are giving so much priority to Kenvies to say, hey, if you're
There's
fearing a
Renato.
Trundle counter pick into the Viego, then what do you want into it? And there's something special planned into this composition now.
Both his marksman picks are off the board on the in the Graves and the Kindred. No Lee Sin. The only other champions he's played so far would be the Diana. I'm gonna go out on the whim.
He's got a J4, but I don't want to hear.
Nidalee. I
Oh,
think,
no.
I think it's
Ooh.
no, still gonna take it.
Nah, I go Viego still here
Wow,
every
okay.
single time, right? Even though it's not going to be the
Yeah,
greatest
I think Nidalee was
matchup in
only
the
option.
jungle.
Eh.
Yeah, gotta take it.
Yeah, you gotta go for this. You gotta look for some of
Get
these
the resets.
resets. Like, Kenvi is so good at creating pressure early on in the game, and while Nidalee does that as well, you don't want to put somebody that has been a star player the entire season on something that needs to snowball when you haven't had a lot of success with it during the regular season.
Very similar game plan. 400 Thieves Academy, Team Liquid, they were the ones that dropped the last game. You're asking to see what changes were made. That gangplank, no one from 100 Thieves is going to be able to get through those barrels. That is no easy task. And something that 100 Thieves did very well in the last game was punishing Bradley when his flash was down. Those Ornn Horns were very often seeking out the Jace. If they don't take out this gangplank early, he is going to stop 100 Thieves in their tracks as they try and fight.
Let's reiterate what we were talking about earlier, right? Gangplank, 100% win rate for Bradley, 100% win rate for Gamsu as well. In Proving Grounds, Gamsu did drop 1 in the regular season, but we saw how effective this can be against these mid to long range competitions. The 80 carry cannot hit. You can't walk through. This is exactly how 100 Thieves won their game against Golden Guardians in Game 2 yesterday.
I really like this setup for TL. I think this gangplank is so good. It's been something that Bradley himself has been so good on, as Team Liquid not looking to trip up like they did in Game 2. They're gonna look to stay solid, push this one to 2-1, giving Bradley that gangplank, something that in his role swap from mid to top, he has been very comfortable with, not only in the team fights where we know Bradley's been so good for the entire split no matter what he plays, but also in the laning phase.
And for Team Liquid, if they are continuing on that road towards what was taken from them last summer, it all starts now trying to reshapen the focus and the style of composition now going against the 100 Thieves, who thwarted them in Game 2.
And we have set up that we really like the gangplank, especially in the fights as this one moves forward. It's going to be really difficult for 100 Thieves to deal with. And what the Thieves can do, what we saw them attempt in the second game, is getting Ryze out of lane early and trying to attack, specifically bot. I mean, you have an Ornn top, you're okay leaving him to his own devices. Renata can't get you out of the bad situations as well as Bard can. So maybe for 100, I think for 100 Thieves, it's even more important that they are able to try and find a positive play bot instead of just the neutral that we saw in Game 2. I think that's going to be the early plan for them, and I'm curious to see how Armeo is going to path around that to break it, as you got to expect that he's going to be, he knows what Kenvi wants to do. He knows that Kenvi's going to try and impact this bot side.
Yeah, but Armeo and Kenvi, both of them have shown themselves to be psychopaths. Last time these guys played up against each other during the previous Proving Grounds, we saw Armeo go for an insane gank as Kenvi trying to stay hidden a little bit earlier, but actually choosing to start with the Wolves.
Yeah, it's a wolf start. And so normally what we have seen, Armeo and Kenvi have been the best two junglers that have gone for some of these paths, right? When you start at a wolf camp, it not only hides where you start on the map, but it also gives you a little bit more flexibility. From here, you can full clear bot side and then look for a bot dive synced up with Jimmian, or you can path towards the top side. And because of the way that he is hovering top side, that says to me that he wants to look for something against Bradley.
Yeah, and because Armeo is already up there, we can kind of expect that Armeo will not want to stay here. He's going to want to get his high value cams. So Bradley, if he's going to try and play it this way, he's going to need to be very aggressive. He's going for the level 1 kind of all in.
He wins it. He has Trial by Fire, he has the Corrupting Potions, he has Grasp, Gamsu, and take a little bit of health.
Niles.
And hey, keep in mind, Bradley knows that he can play this aggressively early
look
because
at
he
this.
has that early trinket, can be going for can't play top. He's spotted.
It's a 2-camp gank here.
He's spotted.
But yeah, the ward spots him out, and just great vision control. The Be Happy is a little bit toxic as well, a little BM.
But
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And don't get me wrong.
The thing about this, though, is that Bradley isn't entirely out of the woods yet. Notice that he's not quite able to get the wave under the turret. He's playing really defensively. He hasn't actually gotten all of his CS because he doesn't know that Kenvi is left.
I think he's fine. And Kenvi, yes, he doesn't know he's left, but he's got to try and get that wave in. He will do so all right. early base for Bradley. If he's able to get that wave in, would mean a call as Harry.
Oh, that's a lot of damage down onto Wixie, forcing the heal out. Boostio's still fine,
Okay.
but that's double summoner spells out of Ayla for it.
And that's bot prio for TLA. Armeo gonna try and use it, get up in the face of Kenvi. He is still level 2.
Yeah, just the way that the camps that he prioritized, Raptors, Wolves, and Red
Smite.
does not give you level 3. Kenvi forced to use Smite to take out the Gromp, but now cannot contest for the blue.
And Trundle is so good at dueling early, especially with the PTA. He knows he can get up in the face of Kenvi. He knows Smite is down, and Kenvi has to see this camp.
It's going to be not just the camp, it's going to be the crab as well. Watch Armeo go for this one. He can choose to go to his own camps on the bottom side, or he can even look to try and fight top lane because Bradley has reestablished priority. He has free movement, and Harry, because he's even, can still choose to contest the Viego.
He's beelining for it, right? And a ping's coming out from Kevin. He wants to be able to contest for it.
Okay,
Smite
fine.
still not off cooldown, though. He's able to burn it down.
He's fine.
And it looks like he's going to be
Yeah,
able to get
he's
it
low.
before Armeo comes in.
If Bradley had moved early, that's something that Kenvi can't necessarily do, but the wave not able to get under turret, Bradley doesn't feel comfortable going for it.
So we did hype up the Gangplank quite a bit. I also want to hype up Harry's LeBlanc. 7-1 in the 8 plays, his second most played champion. Very lane dominant on this pick, and Armeo trying to make an impact mid to help get this LB ahead.
Jimmy doesn't have enough mana, looking maybe for a flash over the wall, but Armeo is
Dead.
covering well. Harry, hey, they acknowledge that Jimmy will go down. First blood for Team Liquid 3 games in a row now.
He saves his flash. I do respect it from Jimmy and Right. As soon as the pillar comes through, there's not a lot for Rise to get out of. He has to look for a way to get over a wall, but it's just a clean dive from Team Liquid. We've seen this in the first game. We see it come out in the second game, and if Harry starts to win this matchup, it really flips the switch.
We even saw this last year. Thinking back to that best of 5, Harry was in the game versus Ryoma. His LeBlanc was massive in that series, massive throughout their run in the last Proving Grounds. It's been huge throughout the season, and keep in mind, it was banned early by Team Liquid, scared of Jimmy and 1-2ing it. Harry getting his hands on the champion, making good use of it early with the help of his jungler.
Yeah, I imagine it's a great read from Team Liquid, understanding that, hey, that Rise priority was so good for them, they might be able to look for it on first 2 picks. Team Liquid not scared to let the LeBlanc go because they're able to secure it now, and you see already the gank assist, the power that you get from Trundle LeBlanc. If you get Harry out of lane and shift his power towards the bottom side of the map, Boostio and Wixie are done for.
Oh, but look at this roam down from the mid lane. Jimmy and Kenvi trying to make a play.
Will be spotted.
Now Boostio, does he have Abyssal Dive ready? And still has both summoners available, even though Ayla, it's a non-summoner spell, Renata Glass. It's not going to be deterred.
And they did spot Harry moving towards that bot river, as there is a ward in the bot embankment rush for Harry and Team Liquid. So really like the respect that Yon and Ava are playing, and they're paying, and it feels like it's back to game 1 with Team Liquid just trying to slow down this early game plan from 100 Thieves and having this superior early plan as well.
Dragon started up by Team Liquid. They have the bottom lane priority, and Kenvi not going to be trying to contest it at all. Wave is too big, and Team Liquid, this is, we're somewhere in between game 1 and game 2, I feel, right? We're seeing Team Liquid try and make these early plays, try and slow it down just a little bit, but they also have a bit more damage to play with as the game goes on. So I'm a lot more comfortable with this slower game from Team Liquid now than I was in game 2.
And let's take a look at things objectively, right? First Dragon goes over to Team Liquid, 100 Thieves. One of the things that helped them stall out the game was being able to steal away the second Dragon and slowing down that clock that would have happened for Team Liquid. I imagine that since they are not able to contest for the first one, Rift Herald could be the next objective that you look for in the next minute and a half.
I thought you were saying we're looking at the game objectively, not objectively, Mark. There's a pretty big difference coming through. It feels like Team Liquid are always one step ahead, and the big thing I want to look for now is copy. I see that grin coming through. Watch Ayla look for an opportunity to move forward or move towards the top side, but Jan is unlikely to do the exact same thing. We see this time and time again. He likes to stay in the bottom lane, continue to farm, and look for these duels against AD carries he thinks are weaker.
I actually think curious, given the support change-up in the matchup, Yon actually going for that early Vamp Scepter, a little bit of a different build. Curious to see if we potentially have a crit build coming out of Yon, as maybe with the different flavor, maybe didn't like his build from last game. At the moment, it's looking like it's going towards a shield bow. Maybe it's just going to be the Trinity Force again, but we'll keep our eyes on that as we continue throughout this.
It does scale a little bit better, but you give up the
Tankiness?
spike.
Yeah.
You don't spike as hard on 2 items when you go for this style of crit build, if that is what he chooses to do. But it does allow you to shred through these tanks. You are a bit more comfortable going with some kind of penetration.
And I think that already speaks to where Team Liquid Academy's heads are at. They say that, you know what, 100 Thieves, after game 1, they're no longer trying to play as fast in the early game. They're going to take things slow. They're willing to match us scaling pound for pound. That's why they have changed up to the Gangplank. That's why they have changed up to what could be a better matched up tank or a composition against Gomsu's tanky frontline.
Check out this Herald setup from Team Liquid. Jimmy just base, doesn't have TP. Bradley just crashed a double, potentially a triple wave, and they're doing it on the crowd, but there's nothing that 100 Thieves can do. Just textbook map play from Team Liquid. Ayla even hovering on this side of the map to ensure they get this Rift Herald uncontested. And Team Liquid, again, coming into this one, their first 3 turret rate, it was 11 out of the 12 games. They did miss it in game 2, but still, that is really what their strength is, this mid-game, taking down the towers. And it feels like with the change of strategy, they've returned to that game plan and are executing it in this game 3.
100 Thieves have tried to make this exact same play 3 games in a row, right? The Herald goes over, Kenvi tries to mark Elon his way back down, but credit to them, they're not going to be making the same mistake. They're not going to be overdiving as Ayla returns bot.
Watch for the interception, though. They are in the jungle quadrant. They're waiting for Armeo to slink on through, but Armeo knows that something is amiss. Thankfully, having spotted them out upon that entry of the tri-bush on the bottom side of the map, Armeo stays alive. He will lose some of his camps for it, but 100 Thieves don't get the pick that they were looking for.
That's well worth it. I'll take Shelly instead of the big Raptor. I feel like that's a good move.
Yeah, that's crab versus chicken nuggets, man.
Okay, Ayla 6.
Busio looking for the abyssal dive. Armeo dodges out on it. Was forced to use the flash.
Oh,
Ayla,
nice.
okay, hostile takeover on the Wixie, and it goes right into the hands of Harry, who picks it up with a clean assassination, and they've picked up 2.
Yo, Ayla is so good, man. He starts that by finding the handshake onto Wixie, meaning he cannot dodge out of the ultimate.
And the fact that Busio hovered, tried to go for that Raptor play, Ayla didn't match. He stayed on the wave. That's what got him that level 6. Utilized that advantage beautifully against the Thieves. That wins Team Liquid the play.
Harry looking for the all-in potentially on the
heal.
Jimmyan. Okay, heal popped, forced the flash over the wall. All right, I wasn't expecting that all-in from both of these mid laners here, but I did want to go, oh, Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown. Does not hit Harry. But as we get Ayla back into the crossfade, I do want to go back to that, Josh, because that combo, that is, Diamond was talking to me about this combo, the handshake right into the hostile takeover. He has been waiting for someone to execute that on stage. And another pickup for Ayla.
Ayla's Renata's been huge so far. I mean, first it's the Bard, now it's the Renata. Ayla has been massive in this series, and guess who the benefactor of it all is? It's Harry's LeBlanc. Again, 7-1 this split between Academy and Proving Grounds play. Let's get a second look.
Yeah, all we really get to see from this, right, is just the setup of Ayla just like walking into the mid lane. We saw this play before. Armeo comes through the pillars there, and once the pillar comes down, there's not a lot for Rise to do. He's just caught up, and easy damage is able to come through.
Bloodthirsty support, love it.
Yeah, magical nose kill supports get kills.
You know what? In that instance, Ayla had to do it, otherwise the kill wasn't going to be picked up. So Ayla doing what a comrade needed to do, securing the kill. 4-0 for Team Liquid now.
And I think Team Liquid are just going to run with it. Look at Harry. He has double buffs. He TPs back mid. And look at the Dragon. He has a double buff plus Ludens. Bot wave shoved up. Harry's going to get shoved the next mid wave because he just TP'd back. And that second Dragon going over to TL for free. 100 Thieves trying to respond.
Okay, Bradley has flash. Flashing.
Easy.
The call of the Forge Gone. Gets out.
Yeah, you should never be able to get that without Kenvi's flash. Bradley does have to expend his to live. But as we see this Dragon go down, the big point I want to pay attention to is Yan. We are confirmed going for a crit style on this Zeri. So it's not going to have the same kind of big mid-game wake-up that we often look at on two items, but it is going to scale. And if you know you need to scale with it, just give it some more gold.
The insta-drop.
Armeo, understanding that so much of 100 Thieves' focus in the past 2 games has been trying to slow down Yan and Ayla. And because they had so much difficulty trying to get through the front line that was Gomsu in the very, very late game, they make this adaptation, they make this change for the late game, and now Team Liquid are much better prepared for it.
And it's the 3rd early game in a row that TL has gotten this sort of lead. And keep in mind, coming into this tournament, that was the big growth arc for 100 Thieves Academy. They love taking pushing lanes, enabling Kenvi to invade, make plays. They're averaging in this tournament being up over 2,300 gold at the 15-minute mark. Team Liquid, they've had the advantage for themselves in these games against 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Gamsu does need to be a little bit careful here. Armeo does so much damage.
He has flash, but he needs to get to the wall, flashing the pillar, but now he's separated by Bradley. Might have enough damage. Cannon barrage for the slow. Gamsu, can he get out of this one? This is just so damn hard to escape. Harry is also there just in case for an insurance policy, and it is Bradley with the parlay.
What's the punchback, right? League of Legends is always turn-based. Jan is getting caught by Kenvi.
Okay, but Jan, he has terrain scaling. Kenvi forced to use the Heartbreaker over the wall. Can he lock him down? But the hostile takeover prevents him from getting the trade back.
And the overreach from Kenvi, as you called out, Joshi, looking for the trade, but that's just too deep. He had no backup.
There's nothing there. Busio was not going to come. The rocket was too far. And
no
now
flash.
Mayo again.
He has no flash, and watch for Armeo. He's going to wait until he's forced to use the Realm Warp before the pillar. Okay, it comes out. Can he get the chain down? But Busio saves him. Abyssal dive, and the Realm Warp is completed.
Good stuff coming out from Jimmy, and knowing that without the flash, he's not going to be able to get away from the pillar, but that's the only thing preventing him from using his ults.
I mean, that's cool, but everything else just disaster. This has been all Team Liquid early. Again, the team, 4 out of the 5 members returning from the run in the summer, 3 out of the 5 returning from the run in Proving Grounds. Of course, Armeo and Kenvi were both in Europe boot camping with their LCS teams. Yes, they dropped game 2, but this looks like the return to game 1 almost as clean as what we saw there, as they're looking to make a statement in this finals. It's not just about beating 100 Thieves, it is about destroying them.
And I feel like this is the Team Liquid that we know was going to be very good, right? This is the same for roster we saw last year. And ever since they got here,
Man.
Gamsu might just be dead.
Yeah, Armeo doesn't have subjugate, but it can still bite through Gamsu like he is paper. Kenvi is here, but just as you said, he is not tanky enough, and Team Liquid taking advantage of that now before it becomes the super tank is now giving him the acceleration they need.
Since these guys came together, they have had one bad event. They have only gone down once, right, in the spring Proving Grounds last year. It was uncharacteristic, but they've gotten first, second, in everything else that they have played, and I feel like we are back to full form, and the only new member is Bradley, who is also on one of the best amateur teams last year.
5th, 6th with wildcard. Roll swap for Bradley. We did tease the gangplank 9-0 going into this game. He's not going to push that one center, though. They're in a pretty good shape so far.
And for Bradley, someone who had to step into the shoes of Jenkins, one of the best Academy top laners we had throughout the entire year of 2021, that was huge shoes to fill. And Bradley, of course, he had some ups and downs. He had the mistakes, dying in solo lane multiple times, overextending. But the amount of times that he has been able to dodge out on ganks from Kenvi this entire series marks the growth that this young player has had.
And after Scouting Grounds, right, there's been a big situation where everybody was expecting Bradley to be one of our standouts from mid, but to see him roll swap into top because Team Liquid asked him to, I think that's the kind of thing that shows a lot of growth as a player. He's quickly becoming one of our best. He's already been one of our best team fighters, and now as his laning gets better and better, he's just going to be a monster.
And this is the doomsday scenario for 100 Thieves. Again, Team Liquid, their mid-game.
Still no flash.
Still no flash, as you called it out. The chains locks him down. A lot of damage. W out from the wall, and it's the distortion that cleans it up.
Man, I often ask you, Mark, like, how are you feeling as a jungler when you are so far behind? You just sit there and you say you're feeling desperate. You're looking for something crazy.
My jungle's getting taken, Josh.
I can't do anything, but as a top laner, you just kind of need to make sure you don't dissociate from this game. It is so rough. You're just like, what can I do?
Yeah, Wixie getting knocked up by the pillar there. Harry looking for the Sigil of Malice, forces him away. As Lucio and Kenvi, but the hostile takeover, the disengage from Team Liquid is so oppressive and prevents anything that 100 Thieves want to look for.
Dragons up, Herald still crashing into the top inhibitor turret at the 16:30 mark. This will be a free dragon for Team Liquid, their third before 17 minutes. This game is all TL.
It feels over at this point, right? And that's what we were kind of expecting. A lot of us were expecting 3-1, 3-0, and this was the form we were looking for. Kenvi and the rest of 100 Thieves did a good job firing back game 2, but I love the adaptations coming through from Team Liquid, the early gangplank.
I mean, not only the early GP, but the early LeBlanc. What they banned the previous 2 games away from Jimmy and Harry, one of his best champs historically. Harry.
I don't know if you want to damage check. This is a 2-level down LeBlanc, but Kenvi is still forcing it out. Harry is dancing in and out, and now that he's got the teleport, he can answer back with the own damage. It's actually kind of remarkable that Kemby was able to get some damage back down onto Harry, but Bradley making sure that he comes in for reinforcements, cleans up.
That's the second time we've seen Kenby try and do something right. It unfortunately is not working out, but that's the kind of player we're going to see. He's going to try and hands check people. But Team Liquid, they're one of the few teams that you can't hands check.
I mean, it's a Doom game, right? You
Yeah.
got to go for something. But Harry, I mean, this LeBlanc, again, the champ they denied from Jimmy 5-0-4, 9 out of the 10 kills he's participated
Nice.
in.
Ayla with a handshake stops the abyssal dive from even occurring. He's getting a little spicy with it, forced to flash over the wall thanks to the super mega death rocket, and Jan is now peppering them down. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Jimmy in a 1v2 getting incredibly low. The shroud from Kemby shows that he is on the way, so Team Liquid probably don't want to overextend their welcome, as now 100 Thieves looking for any sort of overextension to see if they can punish, but at this point, the stranglehold has come back to bite them.
Harry, man, 5-0-4. LeBlanc, we can talk about the pick all we want, but it's a player who needs to be able to do this. He wasn't looking at his strongest in the first round robin, but as he gets into the second half of the round robin and takes control of these mid games.
And oftentimes, I mean, throughout his career, he came over after Ryoma. He's been chasing Ryoma. That was the mid lane matchup in the finals last year.
Yeah.
But Harry, I know from talking with Spawn, he thought that Harry was the MVP from the split after he joined in week 3. He thought that Harry was massive this season, and he is stepping up huge at his best champ is Jimmy. Goodbye, you're gonna get chopped down by Armea.
When the jungler is able to route off and solo kill the solo laners at this point, you know that something has gone wrong and the deficit is too massive to overcome.
Oh, hold on. That's a mistake.
Okay, now Jan a little
Or
too
is
far
it?
forward. Still doesn't have any
The
summoner
berserk?
spells, but just look how much damage comes out from Team
Oh my
Liquid, and
goodness.
Harry just streamlined back into Wixie's heart, takes him out. And just like that, 100 Thieves, every time they think they have an angle to look for, Team Liquid thwarted.
As we start looking towards the end of this game, as it is all but one for Team Liquid, we gotta ask what it's gonna do. Wixie said this stage felt like home yesterday. These are rookies. They're coming in. It's impressive that they're here, but are they going to be able to bounce back against such a veteran roster?
I mean, this is something that I think 100 Thieves benefited from in their last 2 series. Think about the game 2. After that, they boomed Immortals. GG didn't look like the same team after the game 2, but the bounce back from Team Liquid, the experience they have, the fact they've been in so many finals, really showing in this game as they are one turret being taken away from having this be a perfect game at the moment.
Yeah, Busio, again, like he's just going really far forward. He's trying to make something happen. You gotta do it. You gotta see Kenby, you gotta see Busio going for these kind of things, that they're just not working out. And I feel like the one thing I want to see from Busio, same kind of thing. I know you gave me a funny look about it last game, but the Tom Kench, it's got to go for some kind of crazy flank. You got to find your way onto, Jan and Ayla. You got to find that first kill so Viego can reset. I think that's your only way back in.
Personally, I feel like that would be like an abyssal dive into game 4, but at this point,
Yeah, but it's like-
kind of already feeling like that.
It's a 5%. You
Might
got
as
to take
well.
the 10%, right?
Might as well, yeah.
Do you want to die going out, trying?
Die on your sword.
Yeah. You got to make the play happen, Cubby.
Fortunately, he's on TSM.
Damn.
Well, bit of the way to Ocean Soul on the table here for Team Liquid Academy. Bot control, all theirs, as the 1-3-1 from TL. 100 Thieves are too far behind to break it. I mean, look at the harass that Jan's putting down, just peppering 100 Thieves in here.
Oh, wow, Armeo so fast thanks to the speed up from Ayla. Cannon Barrage also slowing down the escape path from 100 Thieves Academy. The route on to Kenby, forced to use the Heartbreaker just to get out. Harry flashing forward for the double distortion, almost takes out Wixie, thanking his lucky stars that he didn't just die.
Top turret still falls over to Bradley. That was a 4v5 in favor of Team Liquid. That's how far ahead they are in this one. 11k gold. And hey, 100 Thieves, they've had this similar comp the last couple of games. I mean, they have the scaling, but this one, there's no way back. And Team Liquid, the ways they can match it with the Gangplank, with the Zeri, this early game from TL, it's been so good, so controlled as Busio.
Busio getting interrupted by the pillar. The abyssal dive is one back to the fountain, all right. 100 Thieves Academy still unable to pick up a kill, down 12 1,000 gold, and with the Ocean Dragon spawning, that is so about to be secured.
I love watching Armeo, man, right? He's a player that we highlighted at the beginning as one of our longest standing players in the entire Academy ecosystem, constantly right there on the verge of finding his way back to LCS. When you give him these straightforward champions, when you let him play the Trundle, when you just give him the tools to make small plays, think about the game with such strong presence of mind throughout the entire thing, he has performances like this. He just walks up and hits you on the head, and 100 Thieves don't have an answer.
So throughout this week, you know, us being in person, I got the privilege of actually checking out some of the scrims for the teams. 2 teams I visited, actually TL and 100, and like listening to him as well, like in the early game. I mean,
That's so smart.
you were complimenting Bradley for dodging out of those ganks. Yeah, I mean, it's a team effort, but Armeo always tracking the jungler, always telling his team, you know, hey, I think he's here. You can do this. You can't. It's a team effort from everyone. He's the one leading the conversation. He's the one leading the charge for this squad. And, I mean, this game has been a masterclass from his Trundle.
Team Liquid just showing us and the rest of the audience what their power can be against a team like 100 Thieves, who have shown such remarkable growth, such a huge glow up, that they can still be the ones that stand tall above them as they look to march their way one step closer to that Proving Grounds title. Gamsu trying to fight back with the Call of the Forge God, prevents Team Liquid from being able to follow up on the damage, but now they have bullied their way into the Baron pit.
I feel like a bunch of field mice on 100 Thieves, right? Just lining up for Armeo to bop him on the head. This Baron is going to go down without any contest. There's no vision this time around. There's not even the one right outside the pit. Team Liquid are in full control of the game, and Harry, I mean, Wixie.
Oh no, no, Harry, don't do him dirty like that. The double distortion, and he just cleans it out.
At least they're in solidarity. They're all the same score.
That
Threes
seems...
across the board, man.
Comedy comes in threes.
Oh, that's maybe one silver light for 100 Thieves Academy, but it's got to be more than just, you know, matching up with your team in terms of KDA by the end of the game, Josh. You have to go back to the drawing board and now figure out, how do you bounce back once again?
I mean, if the game's this one-sided, sometimes it's pretty easy to just be like, we can throw it out the window. We didn't have the plan this time around. We didn't adapt to the change-up they made, and maybe in the next one, that's where we start to see some of the bigger changes from 100 Thieves, as their backs will be up against the wall. Anything they have left to throw throughout this impressive gauntlet run they've had in the lower bracket. We've seen so many games from this team, so much improvement from this squad. They're going to be backs up against the wall. For not the first time, at the when it comes to lower bracket, but the first time for being one game away from dodging out on this turn.
When I start looking at this, I start looking at some of our very exciting players, right? Wixie and Boosty are some of the younger guys, even though they don't have the same kind of experience as Jimmy and Kenvi and Gamsu. They're very happy guys, right? But that can be like...
They're dopamine players, yeah.
They're dopamine players. They look for the big plays. They're the ones that are like, nah, it's okay, we got it next time. Because I feel like that's one of the big things I always love seeing with these promising rookies, is Armeo just walks up and hits the turret. It doesn't feel like there's any other way.
Well, they're going to look to zone Harry off from the mid-wave, but that just completely seized control of the bottom inhibitor. The Ghost Barrel from Bradley, catching them all by surprise. And talking about rookies, you got to talk about Bradley as one of them. Boy. And for the rest of Team Liquid, yes, this is a roster that for the most part, 4 members returning from 2021 Proving Grounds Grand Finals against 100 Thieves last time. The roster has remained for the most part the same, but their courage, their grit, their determination to take back what was taken away from them is now falling into place. Team Liquid Academy, one step away, one game away now from taking the Proving Grounds title after Game 3.
They only dropped a single turret. They're not even going to give up the deathless game at the very end. Team Liquid absolutely smashing Game 3 this time around, you guys. And holy crap, if we can see that kind of form from the rest of the team with that kind of confidence, we might be looking at a fast day.
We were hyping up 100 Thieves. If there's any way that they're gonna, take down this team, we thought it'd be the mid-jungle duo. Kenvi, Jimmy, and they've been really up in their game, up in their play together. It's what got them that Game 2, the Rise Lee Sin combo. But what about the game from Armeo and Harry? That was played to perfection from the two of them. Didn't give Kenvi or Jimmy any opportunities to find any proactive plays on the map, only dropping one turret. What a statement from Team Liquid. What a bounce back.
I think we're going to see a little bit more of this, right? It suddenly adds a lot more bans for Team Liquid that you have to pick up as 100 Thieves, right? It's like, what are you going to do about the Gangplank? What are you going to do about the LeBlanc? Can we afford to give the Trundle? Can we even pick the Viego? And this is one of those things where we saw yesterday when Golden Guardians crumbled in Game 2. If it feels like all your plans aren't going to work, what can we do?
The big thing there for me is looking at 100 Thieves Academy and their draft plan. It's like, okay, you know what? We figured it out. Rise, big priority. Let's take it for us.
Get rid of the LeBlanc.
Oh shit. We got to figure out the LeBlanc, right? It's like, this LeBlanc is a little too out of control for us now. The Bradley Gangplank, I mean, that's one thing you have to worry about, but I'm in agreement with Cubby that LeBlanc was so terrifying. I don't know what you do as 100 Thieves if you want to stay on the red side for the draft or you pick it for yourself instead of the Rise.
Also, it wasn't just the LeBlanc. That first blood was gifted by Armeo over to Harry. The presence from that Trundle too. That was a team effort, a masterclass from the mid-jungle duo of Team Liquid. Again, returning members from last year, them working together to shut down Kenvi and Jimian. Massive. And now there was one adaptation after 100 Thieves dropped game 1. I feel like we need a few more after
you
the
need a
curveball that Team
massive
Liquid just gave.
overhaul this time around.
The one other player I want to highlight before we go into the next one again, Kenvi, right? He actually missed out on the last Proving Grounds. He was not one of the winners. That was Gamsu. Both he and Tenacity went off to boot camp. And if there's one player I think is going to be able to turn this around, I think we're going to have to look at Kenvi. Prop up Jimmy. You cannot allow Armeo to dictate the mid lane matchup like that again.
We saw an early game plan. It didn't work out for them. Game 4 could be the last one for both of these teams as we head back to the desk. But before we do that, we're going to be hearing from Busio from 100 Thieves on improving throughout the split with the team.
I think trust in the game is super important because if I'm weak-sided bot and I'm trusting Gamsu top, then I don't feel like I'm pressured to do something special or something risky. I can just know that I just need to lose as little as possible and topside will carry, and vice versa for us bot side.
Hello, welcome into a special grand finale, I suppose you can say, of In the Lab. It is me, Mad Magical, joined in by my new lab assistant. It is FlyQuest Academy support, Diamond. How are you doing?
I don't know how I got here.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, we got to talk about what's happened today and where we have gotten to so far, which I'd say is fairly tame. Nothing too fanciful, nothing exciting, not like NASA support, Rumble support, things I actually enjoy. Instead, I'd say the most spicy we've really had would be Renata. But you know what would have been better there? A Syndra support. That would have really tied the composition together well. Don't you agree?
There's no shot, man. Like, there's not a single shot you'll ever see Syndra supporting competitive. It's so bad. Like, it cannot do anything here. Like, Renata was so good in that play. Like, just show it. Just show it.
Okay, fine. We'll look at a couple plays of Renata around, like, the dragon or something.
Yeah, actually, this clip, Ayla played this, like, really well. He did, like, a mechanic on Renata that not many people know about. It's like, you can Q, then ulti, and if you Q right away, you can snap them back into the ulti. It's like here, like, that's how they catch the Jinx here. He like, pulls him back and sacks him into the ult.
Ooh, that's a smart move. Kind of like with Syndra support, where, you know, you knock them back and you can ult them right afterwards.
I don't think anything happens here with that Syndra. I think they just lose in peace.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose you got a point there, but you know what? It's okay. I still am very confident in the research I've put in on this. And even if, you know, you have a point, the drawing back in with a handshake right into the hostile takeover Renata, blah, blah, blah. I think that in that play, a Syndra would have done just as much and still gotten a kill, in fact.
I mean, I don't know which world you live in, but I mean, like, I haven't seen many Syndra win against, like, the town country, you know? Like, I don't think it's a thing, but maybe in Magical Low, maybe it's good. I mean,
oh, you know what? Let's look at another Renata play for you. See how that goes. If that's so fanciful, you know, there's this pick in the jungle.
Oh, this fight kind of Diego's kind of same thing. Kenvi kind of like decided that he didn't want to play anymore, and then he got taken over. He became one of TL's champions and just gave them gold. I think it's a good play. I mean, it is what it is, you know. I don't think Syndra can do that either. Can Syndra mind control the enemy jungler to do this?
No, you just give him a gray screen instead.
Yeah.
Dead. Just boom, gone. You know, that's usually how you want those things to work, right? As the support, you get the kills. Yes? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's at least how I see it. But you know what? We can look at one more Renata play where she doesn't get the kills, but helps out the team and stuff like that. You can see this fight. It was about 19 minutes into the game, and by this point, we all know that Syndra would have just killed everyone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Syndra definitely kills her own here. I mean, Renata ulti was really good here. Like, they were playing to a choke, so there's no way for them to win. But I'm pretty sure Syndra would be extremely good here. I think you just, yeah. I can definitely try to mind control my coach to pick Syndra, but I don't think it'll work, unfortunately.
Feel like you're memeing me. I don't know.
What are you drinking? You drinking copium?
Shut up. You know what? Fine. Why don't we get back to our desk powered by Verizon, see how they think about the games went.
Welcome on back to the Proving Grounds desk powered by Verizon. I hope that
You're not supposed to drink that, Magical. I don't think
Magical is okay
that was a
at
prop.
this point. We'll see how he turns out, if he's a little bit more mad or if he's more magical when we get him back on the desk.
Maybe gives him superpowers. Maybe
it
it's
gives
one of
him
those ones,
superpowers.
yeah.
You know who had superpowers that game? It was Team Liquid Academy. My goodness. 1 tower away from a perfect game and 1 win now away from claiming a Proving Grounds finals.
They could be our champions here if they close out one clean one, and it was off of the leadership of Armeo. They talked about it on the cast. This guy did not get a play in Proving Grounds finals last time around.
That's from
but
the
now
break.
he gets an opportunity to come back and actually play for his team in the grand finals, and it was off of Armeo's Trundle that got them that massive lead. Everyone on Thieves Academy was 0-4. Every single player.
They have now weaponized the 4 meme.
Yeah.
It is now usable against their enemies.
That's how you win this thing.
Unite.
That's how you do it. But I also want to give props to everybody who's the returning players from Team Liquid
Yeah.
Academy, right? From the mid lane down, they were the ones that were oftentimes, outputting the damage necessary in those fights. Armeo working with them incredibly well. And now Bradley coming in, fitting with this team. This is a level of domination that I didn't expect coming from Team Liquid Academy in this best of 5 finals. But if they could just run that back, I mean, we're like 18 minutes away from just crowning them champions, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I expected this personally from TLA. I felt like usually like what they're good at is like if they have a lead, they like know how to push it like really hard. And like I felt like in the first games they were kind of lacking this, and this game like it was a complete opposite. They just took the game away like instantly.
That's what's crazy to me, is that this series so far has been a very interesting one. The first game was a smash by Team Liquid Academy. Second game, it was the game 2 banger we always wanted, right? And then
We always
game
expect at this point.
always expect.
Yeah, it's in the
And then
script.
game 3, again, Team Liquid come out without giving over a single kill. So I guess from a player perspective, how do you deal with these emotions? I mean, that's an insane roller coaster ride.
True. Not many players like actually can come back from this type of perspective. Honestly, like if I was like 100 and I had a bunch of rookies and this happened to us, I kind of know in the back of my mind that like the next game will be like really difficult. Like so like you have to like go into these games and like if your team is like can like crack some jokes, like be like happy about it, like just like joke around the back, and like if you have a player like for example like, they have Golden Glue as a coach, right? They'd probably be like, yeah guys, like it's fine, like just check it off. Like
We
you know.
scaling.
Yeah, we're scaling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if that happens, then you have like a bunch of rookies. I think you just pick me whatever, let's just lose in peace and go. And
I'm happy you brought up coaches because I gotta know what Coach Spawn told Team Liquid after that game too. Like, what was the speech from Coach Spawn? It's like clearly he
guys,
shook
we
some
destroy
life
them
back.
and just keep destroying them.
Just
Don't int anymore, and we'll win.
Yeah, I mean he had some inspiring words for us before the cast as well. So if he said anything similar to that, I'm sure it's fine.
I think it'll be fun.
100 Thieves Academy have picked red side going into game number 4. So that means all games so far are the same side for both teams. What do we think about this diamond? Is this what you were expecting? Do we want to see more adaptation?
If they lose this game, they're gonna beat themselves forever for not picking blue side.
They
But,
should
like,
have. I agree. They should have picked blue side here.
yes, I mean like it's like some of the thing that happened is like if you pick like for example you pick only scaling comps, right? And then you like get out of the series and you lost, you'd be like, why do we play scaling? Like this, we should play like we should change it up, you know? And like if they lose on red side again, like I don't know. Maybe like their scrim results, like they like had like insane win rate on red side or something, and they're like CLG in season 1. They only prepare for blue side or red side or whatever.
Well, I will say that has actually been one of their strengths is on red side. We usually see them win there, but this time around, I feel like they're getting exploited for that. They're not actually finding the strengths that they had in the past against teams like Golden Guardians Academy just yesterday, or Immortals Academy that they had beaten on Wednesday. I think going into this next draft, if you're going to be back on red side, you have to change the game plan completely. Like, you need to have new champions, new bot lane, I think, even. Because they've been spamming that Jinx and Tahm Kench. It's just not working for them.
Well, I will say, I think if you look at the difference between game 2 and 3, the Jinx Tahm Kench first 2 in the second game, then they went for the Rise very early, and it got counterpicked by the Blanc. I think Team Liquid Academy, like Harry just has answers into the Rise. So if you lock that in too early, I don't think that's a strat. I actually would have been fine with Jinx Tahm Kench if they had just said, okay, we're just going to handshake, nothing will happen bot lane. Let's just try and scale down there and try and get Jimmy in a better match.
Actually, Rise is good into the Blanc, but like they like self-counter, but it's like a comfort. But like I actually like their draft more the second time, where they like last pick support, because then they don't get counter-picked in bot lane. I thought it was much better, because if you're gonna pick Rise anyway, you pick Rise, right? But yeah, like LeBlanc is like a kind of 60-40-ish for 60-40. So yeah, 60-40-ish for Rise, but if like you have a stronger 2v2 matchup, like for example in this game he had a Trundle, right? So you can burn his flash early, and then it's very difficult for the Rise.
Well, I guess we'll have to see if any of those adaptations work out for 100 Thieves, because we are one game away from Team Liquid claiming the Proving Grounds Grand Finals. We'll have a short break, and after this, game number 4.
See, this is why we have 3 plays and a player.